Welcome to Coffee Conversations with Les and Paul, 30 Minutes for God.
A podcast sponsored by Piedmont Road Church of Christ and Ministry League.
We're here to discuss Bible topics just as if we're asking Jesus himself. I am Paul Sperlin.
And I am Les Sandifer. We hope you will enjoy our relaxed Bible-based discussions.
Thanks for joining us as we think about and talk about all those things we've asked Jesus over a cup of coffee.
Perfect. That'll be great. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I'm trying to channel my Paul.
Number 3. Really?
My Paul Sperlin. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I don't do as good a radio voice. I do a pretty good Scottish iron brew, though. Iron brew?
See? It's good. I was about to say, give him one.
Kind of have to pop those eyes open. Iron brew? And now I do it with stew. We're having stew. Although it's Irish stew, and I'm giving it a Scottish accent, but
still, I think, and they're going to hate me. Scottish and Irish are close in dialect and diction.
You do realize they're divided entirely.
I know
England.
History is a big deal here. I've got to do something.
I mean, isn't Ireland over here, England, and then,
yeah? Trust me.
At least the way I'm looking at it,
they wouldn't like it.
Okay.
I got Graham's probably sending me hate mail right now and making fun of me.
If he's listening to this,
maybe he will eventually one day.
Well,
I got to do something weird.
All right. What are you doing besides getting your coffee?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
All right.
This is, I know you just heard this. This is Coffee Convo with Les and Paul, 30 Minutes for God. We are trying to encourage the world to take at least 30 minutes a day to spend time with the Lord, open the Bible, and enter into a conversation with the Lord. And side by side with that, enjoy some of the banter of the coffee table. You know,
that's exactly right. We both have our coffee.
Yeah,
here with us today.
We're ready to go.
Mine actually has the logo. Do you have your logos on your mugs oriented so that you see them or so that the world sees them?
I think so the world can see them.
Charlotte asked me the same question on our Yeti mugs.
I would put one on both sides.
Something. Yeah.
You know, one year we did like an exposure logo on one side, Ministry on the other, so you're repping something.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But
yeah, I tend to have it facing me.
Yeah.
But that probably doesn't make sense.
Because you enjoy seeing the thing. Yeah.
That's right. So we are in Galatians chapter 5, talking about the fruit of the Spirit.
The fruit of the Spirit.
Yes. We talked about the plural nature of the plural nature of the word fruit. But yes, that's where we are, even as we speak.
Even as we speak, people are trying to talk to me. I'm going to let them know what I'm doing.
Oh.
Yeah, why not?
You should do that.
Yeah.
And we're doing a selfie shot.
Let's get the thing in there too.
All right, there we go. You folks got to witness it. Very exciting stuff.
That'll probably be in the video.
So last week we talked about a few of the fruit that are listed here.
Yes.
Those being love, joy, peace, and patience, I believe. And we're going to pick up in our world with the subject matter continuing.
Yeah.
Talking about kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Maybe we should just read it all again. Verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Yeah, it's a very good subject matter, and a lot of things here. I mean, to unpack and how we live our life, right?
I think this kind of doesn't resemble, but it is a really good partnership with the Beatitudes.
Okay.
When you look at well, actually go beyond the Beatitudes. Let's go to the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah.
You got Matthew 5, 6, 7. Really is Jesus telling people how to live.
Yep.
Why is that different than what's happening with this fruit salad? I mean,
well, and it's true.
You know?
I mean, it is kind of
It's kind of cool.
Well, I mean,
Think about.
I guess in the sense, a lot of senses, that's really what all of the apostles
Well, that's true.
are trying to do.
Yeah, people are probably sitting at home thinking or listening, thinking, James is kind of with that too. It's like, it's funny how
Isn't
you
that what that all do?
you could fit the New Testament all together in a nice little thing. It's called the Bible. But
well,
it is.
and
It's
that's
a
why
way
you
to
go.
live.
That's why we go read it and pull these things out and talk about them a little more
That's right.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody about listening to the podcast, and now they have the opportunity to watch it if they want to do that. And really, it was an interesting take on it. The person said to me, I don't watch the podcast just in series.
Yeah.
I go look for the topic.
Oh, okay.
That I want to, that seems like it might have the most
Right.
benefit to me in the moment. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And this may be, hopefully this is one of those that kind of lends itself to that, because we are talking about some pretty significant things.
Yeah.
Here in how we live our life.
Yeah, I think, well, and the title of this is episode 3, part 2 of the fruit salad.
Right.
So hopefully they'll.
Did you actually put that in the title?
Actually, it is.
The fruit salad?
The fruit salad.
Nice.
Yeah. I didn't do that for the first one. I should go back and edit that.
You should edit the title.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
But
if you go back and look for it, he's going to edit the title.
It's a conglomeration of all the things that we need to understand to be a better person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's where we are. You read it, but we did talk about how it's important, how that love and self-control are the bookends to all of these. It's kind of neat because you start with the passion of it, then you end with making sure all this stuff is great, but make sure you know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And how to deal with your actions and your reactions to all the things that are going on with you.
Yeah, that's right.
So
and today we're picking up with the idea of kindness. What does that look like to you, Paul?
I mean, thinking of others, trying to put people first. You got the whole Good Samaritan kind of idea of if someone's in need, help them out. If someone needs to pull out in traffic and it's taking them forever to get there, it's okay to stop, let them come through. You'll be fine.
And really that kind of was where I was going with the question. And it's a question, I guess, to you that are watching or listening. How far does your kindness extend? Does it extend to all the folks in your life? Do you compartmentalize it to Christians or vice versa to other folks more specifically than you do to another group? I think that's the challenge we have when we do the things we do. You mentioned the car. I mean, that's a great, great point.
Well, and to extend the car thing, I got a little story. Happened yesterday.
Were you mean? Were you unkind?
I wasn't mean. I was not unkind. But Lainey was more kind than me.
Oh, okay.
So I cleaned so I get home yesterday afternoon and I have Tyler. I pick up Tyler from school. I don't pick up Lainey anymore because she's got a spot at the high school now, so she can drive home.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Nice. New thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So, but she had a voice last night. She takes voice lessons. She does performance type singing and stuff.
Okay.
And she's got one more thing in May. That wasn't for the show, but that's just what's going on. And so
now it's for the show.
Now it's for the show. So we finish. She finishes around 5:30. She gets home. I'm home with Tyler. Tyler, when we get home, he doesn't want to go inside. He wants to play. We got treehouse in the backyard. We got woods in the backyard. We got trees in the front yard. We got a swing in the front yard. So he's all over the place, trampoline, all kinds of stuff. And so he's playing. I thought, well, I'll weed eat. I'll do some work. That's fine. And then I look at the garage, and my garage, it's a mess. It's a terrible mess. And so I thought, you know what? I'll clean this a little bit. Well, I spend like the next 2 or 3 hours cleaning it up. I mean, it's legit awesome. I mean, it's a whole nother story. I got pictures. I'll show you later.
Next level.
It's next level workshop. It looks awesome. But to Stephanie, I reorganized all your things and it looks clean now. And it's a nice little place, but everything fits perfectly. It's a dream. Anyway, so Lenny gets there. I got trash piled up. I mean, trash, like 3 truckload fulls. Okay. A trash. Now we have a dumpster days is happening in
Did
Nelson.
You say truckload fulls?
I did say fulls.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, not fools, you fool. No, that's not, I don't talk like
Truckloads.
that. That is no kindness calling
Truckloads
somebody a fool.
full.
But
Trucks load.
Full, a lot of full. Anyway,
I have to think about how that works.
I know. I know. So we she gets home and I ask, is it okay? Can we let up the truck a few times? We'll go and dump the stuff at it's dumpster days up in Nelson, literally 5 minutes from our house.
Okay.
She's like, sure, let's load it up. Let's go. Okay, we go. Well, we drive through the neighborhood. We finally get to the Highway 5 is right in front of our house, or not our neighborhood, not our house. We live back. We're in a good place, cul-de-sac. But out there, people, the speed limit is 55. When she pulls out onto the street, I mean, we're going like 15, and I'm like,
when who?
Lainey.
Oh, Lainey's doing.
We
this.
have stuff. She's driving her truck. I mean, it's my truck, but I
Right.
gave her my truck. She drives it.
Yeah.
So she's driving it, and she gets out there, and she's going like 15, and I'm like, Lainey, you're gonna speed up a little bit. You got people behind you that they're not gonna,
they're going faster.
They're going faster. And she's like, Dad, they will understand. We have trash in the back of our truck. They'll understand. It'll be okay. And I'm thinking, no, you need to step on it. Let's go. So I'm having difficulty. I'm helping her drive. I'm sitting in this chair, and
so far I don't see any problem with this.
Yeah, I know. And she finally gets it up there, and she'll turn right, and we had somebody just blow right by us, and it's in the neighborhood. I mean, we're not in 55 anymore. We've turned off.
Okay,
we're in Nelson. She's going slow over the track. She's doing what she should do. Somebody blows right by her, and she's like, I don't know, and she's like,
you reacted to it.
I did. I'm like, you need to go faster. You go faster, But I don't know. She seems so cool, so calm in this driving, and I'm like, I hope this is how you are most of the time when you're driving. And I'm sure she is.
Yeah,
she's very careful. She's very observant, and I'm very proud of her for that. But sometimes I want to gun it and go and be a part of I hate to say part of the road rage. It's not really road rage. It's adherence to what's happening behind you because we live near Atlanta.
You want to be aware of the traffic patterns and blend.
Yeah.
To some degree.
That's true.
Or for the most part.
But she's like, you never know what kind of people you'll come in contact with. And there may be people, children running across the street. And I'm like,
oh, I thought she was going to say they might pull out a gun and shoot you.
Oh, she didn't say that. Oh, I hope not.
That is my favorite phrase ever from somebody that says why they don't react to anything in traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll pull out a gun and shoot you.
No, that's not. No, hopefully that'll never happen. But anyway, it was just one of the things where I don't know. It's just interesting that different people do things different ways, and she shows kindness where she doesn't get in a hurry for nobody. She's on her time schedule. And I'm always go, which I've got a philosophy about all that. That's for a different show, a different time. But
I was thinking the same thing about what you said about she's on her own time schedule. Because that could be counter to being a good citizen in driving.
Oh, sure. But no,
there are plenty of people that pull out.
Yeah,
and they're like, I don't really care what the prevailing traffic is. I'm just going to pull out and go well below it, and you'll just get over it.
You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
So that's it's definitely a different discussion for a different show.
Yeah, for sure.
And you could wrap goodness into this too, I suppose.
Yeah. While we're here. Sure.
Because they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, all of these go together, but
yeah.
I mean, kindness and goodness kind of go hand in hand.
I think so.
Yeah.
Kindness, goodness.
Yeah.
Being kind to people. Yeah. I think it's maybe the Lord here is trying to emphasize don't make this a hard issue,
right.
Have an open heart, be there for people, be kind and good. And then it's interesting. It's followed by faithfulness. He's that saying, if you're going to be kind, if you're going to be good, it means you're understanding what it means to be obedient to God.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting on that.
There's a lot of nesses. Yeah. Stuck right here together. There's 4 of them.
That's
stuck
true.
Together.
Yeah.
Kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, descriptors of how a person is. I mean, when you look at the first one, love is not necessarily a descriptor of behavior.
Right.
It's as you said, a matter of the heart.
Right.
Joy is an attitude. It's a way you live your life relative to God. Peace is a relationship.
Yeah. And now joy and happiness are different.
Agreed.
I think we may have talked about that last week.
We did.
Okay, good.
A little
Good.
bit, yeah. But you're right.
Joy
they're
is the heart.
distinctly
Happiness
different.
is what occurs to you.
And then you get to kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness, all kind of aspects of
Yeah.
the way you, I don't know. I'm struggling with the descriptor I want to use here,
Yeah.
but kind of the way you are in your,
Well, you're almost
demeanor.
using the other words to describe this word. How am I show gentleness? Well, by being kind, by being good. And really, again, it goes back to the heart. It goes back to how you address people. If you disagree with someone, make sure you're disagreeing with them in a way that God's okay with. That you're talking to them in a way that, showing the truth in love. Go back to Ephesians on that. When you're sharing the truth, well, this is your truth. This is your opinion or things going on with other people. The way in which you react to people and act towards people, I think, is a big deal. And I think that goes with the kindness and the goodness and the faithfulness it's kind of like a brick wall. It's like, if you're not doing this, then you're probably not doing what I'm asking you to do. You're not being very faithful.
Yeah.
So I think it's very telling. In that passage for sure.
I think you're right. And it's, when we look at all of these pieces, and really in these four in the middle strike me in a very particular way, because you can get caught in this trap of being a little bit fake in presenting your kindness, goodness, and gentleness to the world.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Oh, Paul, I'm so sorry. And there's a way people can go about it that's not genuine.
Yeah.
It's like they flip a switch and they go from being normal less to this, I don't know, sugary, sappy.
Yeah.
And I think people read through that.
I think they would too.
And I think the tricky part is that these have to be pieces of who you are. That's the work that's required of us, is not to have them be something you do in a moment or as a reaction to something in and of itself. It becomes part of the way you are.
Exactly.
And you have to train that.
So we're talking about being authentic here.
Yes, after all of that commentary, authentic.
But the point I'm making here is the fruit salad part is there's no replacement for the orange. There's no you can get mandarin or something, but it's still the same family. There's no replacement for apple.
Yeah.
You could throw kiwi in there and get everything, but apples.
You've gone literal fruit now.
I'm going literal fruit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Bananas.
What would you replace a banana with?
Nothing.
A grape. And the point is, those things don't go there. Plantain for a grape?
No, for
you're
a banana.
still the banana thing. I'm messing with you now. Catch up. Let's go. No, but the point I'm saying is, with the fruit, you like the fruit salad because it's the fruit that it is. In the fruit of the Spirit, the Lord intends you to use this because of exactly what it is. And you need to be exactly what those things are.
Yeah.
But that has to be your authentic self.
That's right.
If that can't be your authentic self, then that faithfulness you're going to have an issue with. Not you in general, the world.
That's right.
Is going to have an issue with the
So what if you're
being genuine?
What if your nature, and I say that loosely, what if the person that you are is not necessarily inherently a gentle type of person? I have in my mind a very specific type of person, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing we have to work on very hard as Christians, is to make sure these components that aren't really just kind of who we are from a base nature point of view,
right? We
develop ourselves into that person. And I think I'm saying that because there are some people that go, well, it's just who I am. It's just me. Well, who you are as just me needs to become who God wants you to be, not who you say you are and everybody else just has to live with it. There's a lot of things we do in our life where we need to correct.
You're absolutely
and change and do better.
Well, that's why you have a verse 24, 25, and 26 of chapter 5. We'll get there, but what that tells you is, if you can't live by the Spirit and become the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Jesus, you're going to have difficulty come Judgment Day. So if someone says, I can't do that, I'm like, well, then someday you can't do heaven.
Yeah. No, that
sounds awful.
Well,
but
and that's a really great point.
It's
the facts. And it's the reason you said last time and this time we're bookended with the idea of love, but the last one is self-control. Because in the self-control, we wrap in this how you become the person that you need to be by enhancing those things in this list that are not there all the time, and try to bring them in there
and
more often.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy to be kind and good all the time when you go to work in a bad mood, or what put you there. You got to go back and backtrack your steps and think, and go back to the whole "what would Jesus do" thing.
Well, I bet
that's what this is all about. This is what our conversation is with.
Yeah, and I feel really confident in saying that the folks that are listening, watching, and the two of us sitting here can identify within this list some things that are not our strong suit,
right,
and others that are.
Yeah,
patience and gentleness don't top the list for me for what I'm really good at. I have to work very hard to enhance those two things. I feel like I'm kind of middle of the road with kindness and goodness.
True. You're not being fair to yourself. So I've seen a faithful. I've seen a gentle and a patient less. I really have.
They exist.
Yeah, but we grow, we advance.
But I just think in terms of who we are in self-evaluation, we know which ones aren't there all the time.
Yep.
By just kind of general nature, if you will.
That's true. That's true.
And all of us have it. I mean, there are some people that you interact with that you feel like they're just kind of gentle in everything they do.
That's true.
And that is not me.
Yeah. Well,
by self-admission, but I work on all of them. We should all work on.
That's why I list it to get us to go over it and see what can we do to make ourselves better.
Remind ourselves.
Yeah.
And then really once we're doing that, we kind of get to this thing about self-control, and we're kind of bringing it all together.
Knowing the difference between right and wrong, and what you're going to do with it. I think it's a big deal.
Oh, you bring up
it's a big deal.
I'm not even sure you intended to, but you bring up a very interesting point about planning ahead.
Yeah.
We talked about it off air in a different context, but I mean, it goes with this.
It does.
Is the idea that if we're reactionary to everything, it's tougher to do any of this really, really good.
Yeah.
But if we're kind of thinking ahead to the things in our lives, where are we going today? Who are we going to be with? What kind of interactions might we have? Then we have an opportunity to really pre-plan in our lives where we can bring some of these out.
Yeah.
And make them a bigger part of who we are.
For sure.
That's a separate topic too. We should probably do a show about the idea of preparation and pre-planning, just in the general sense of how, mentally, cognitively, you're preparing.
You talk about like preparing for worship and for the day?
No,
for
not
life.
Yes,
or certain things.
Yes and no. It's kind of a mix of the two, but really it was more about being thoughtful in what you're going to face.
Okay.
In the things in life, but more specifically in the moment, because when you get in the car, you know where you're going.
That's right.
And that place you're going may, for instance, may have somebody that challenges you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you can know going in. You and I have talked about this, but Charlotte and I have kind of this little trigger word that we use. I'm not going to throw it out there, but we have this little trigger word that reminds us where we're going to be and what we need to do to
let it go.
Yeah, to let it go, but not let these things that have a very high likelihood of coming up.
Yeah,
trigger us into an inappropriate response.
Or fester. Yeah, I got you.
Or fester.
Yeah,
I
got you.
That too
makes sense.
Yeah, he goes on to say, reading verse 25 and 26 that Paul referenced, if we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another and envying one another. And that's really, we've got chapter breaks in here, put in here. This blends naturally into chapter 6.
right.
of Galatians.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, because it talks about brothers, if anyone cannot trespass, you who are spiritual, restore him in a spirit of gentleness.
Mm-hmm.
So the subject matter doesn't just cut off and switch to something new. It's just a transition into a broader perspective on what the fruit of the Spirit was. But having said that, if we kind of lock ourselves down as we close out this particular subject matter, if we live by the Spirit, we're in step with the Spirit. Which is what you were getting to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us not become conceited.
Yeah.
Provoking one another and carrying.
Well, in verse 24 too, those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If you're going to be obedient to God, if you're going to crucify all the things in your life to that cross, just as Jesus with that cross, take all your sins to it.
Great point.
So it doesn't mean you're going to get rid of it forever. It means that's what you don't need to be doing. And when it comes back, we get to go back and reflect on the fact that the Lord knows I'm imperfect. But he went to that cross, and I can continue to go back there as a Christian. I can pray to him and ask him for that strength and that help, because we all need it. We need the reboot. Yeah. We need the refresher. We need the help.
Growth isn't a one and done.
It's interesting.
It's a continual process of reminding ourselves of exactly what you just said.
Right.
We're crucifying the flesh every day. And when we make a misstep, we come back to it.
Yep.
But we have the grace of God.
We do have the grace
at all times.
At all times.
That takes care of our discussion on the fruit of the Spirit.
It does.
Any final comments?
I think we covered it. It's interesting how we end it, because you were talking about chapter 6. We may get into bearing one of those burdens sometime in the near future.
Yeah, and we have
when it comes to those questions and things like that.
Yeah, we have some other questions on our mind.
And send those questions to us.
Yeah.
At paul@lifeinchrist.com. We will go through those and sift through all the ones we've received so far. Make sure your question is one of them, and let us answer that for you, and let's talk about that together and share it with you.
All right.
So, for Les Sandifer, I'm Paul Sperlin. This has been Coffee Convo with Les and Paul, 30 Minutes for God. Thank you to Piedmont Road Church of Christ for being one of our sponsors. Go to lifeinchrist.com to check that out, and Ministry League at ministryleague.com are you going to hit the music or anything? Or
I thought we decided not to do that.
I don't know, but here we are.
Okay.
We want to thank you for listening to this week's edition of Coffee Conversations with Les and Paul, 30 Minutes for God. We want to thank Piedmont Road Church of Christ at lifeinchrist.com and Ministry League at ministryleague.com. Go there and check out all the resources available, including the podcast network, Ministry League. We want to thank you for being with us this week, and we look forward to being with you over that next cup of coffee.